Welcome back. The Bronx LGBTQ plus Expo is an event that's become a vital space for celebration, visibility, and advocacy in one of New York's most diverse boroughs. Joining us now to help us learn about how the Expo uplifts queer voices is Connie Pacheco and Jomil Luna. Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
Thank you both for joining us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So before we get into the expo, I want to learn a little bit about both of your backgrounds. So Jomil, to start off, you wear many hats aside from that one.
Yes.
As the president of the Community Spotlight Foundation and a pharmacy sales rep at the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to work in both healthcare and community advocacy.
Yes. So I am a man of many hats, and I'm super happy to be here. So thank you, Brittany, and thank you, BronxNet. I think this is part of like who I am as a person, right?
Mhm.
I do like wearing many hats. I like doing a lot. I like giving back to the community. So my world of HIV care, prevention, advocacy just led to the nonprofit, the Community
Mhm.
Spotlight Foundation. And I really believe that it all has meshed so well in my life, right? The Community Spotlight, just to give you some background, started in 2020 during the pandemic. I just took to social media, started doing interviews because what I love, being on stage with a microphone. But that wasn't happening in 2020. So I had to take it to social media, and it evolved to what it is now. So the Community Spotlight Foundation launched last year, 4th of July to be exact. And now it has grown to become its own entity, right? And people in the community now are like, oh, wow, Jomil, we see what you're doing. And what I'm trying to do and build, along with my board, which Connie's also part of the board, is just to empower people, give them the tools necessary to see themselves in each other's stories. That's really what it is. That's why I enjoyed, spotlighting, so to
Mhm.
speak, because people can see themselves and say, oh, wow, me too.
Mm.
And that empowers people to move forward in whatever aspect of life they are in. So, in a nutshell, have been doing that, right? The Community Spotlight, AHF, been then with them for 8 years in the Bronx and in Manhattan. And most recently, I have joined the BronxNet family as a access
Yes.
producer, right? And it's called the Community Spotlight.
Right. And so also you wear many hats, but Connie, you're also the powerhouse behind Recoveries Are Us. Tell us, what is the mission of your organization and how did it come to be?
Yes, I only wear 2 hats, but so Recoveries Are Us is a vocational training program in East Harlem. And that was birthed out of my own personal journey with addiction and recovery. The training is for individuals seeking a career in substance use, counseling, and peer advocacy. We're in East Harlem, but we service all 5 boroughs, and we've been in operation now for about 15 years.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. Absolutely. And so for those who may not know, tell us about the Bronx LGBTQ plus Expo. What is it about?
I'm going to let
Oh,
Connie take this one because she has a very
Yeah.
personal story about the Expo.
So the Bronx LGBT Expo was created and founded by a very good friend of mine, childhood friend, Jose Ramon. We've known each other for many, many years. And he passed away in 2021, a year after he was diagnosed with ALS. Lou Gehrig's disease. And in his final days, I was one of his first sponsors for the LGBT Expo. And not only that, he also created the White Shirt Project, which is where I met Jomil. And in his final days, he sort of kind of handed the reins over to me and said, don't let them forget. And I get a little emotional when I talk about that. But we continue to do the Expo in his honor and legacy. And through the creation of the White Shirt Project, that's where I met Jomil. He's one of the spokesmodels there. And that was another platform that he used to bring about awareness, to dismantle stigma with regards to, the LGBTQ population. Since then, we've done it now 5 years, and Jomil has been instrumental and integral in helping me to do that. I couldn't do it without him. So yeah, and we continue to honor his memory.
Thank you for sharing that. Such a beautiful anchor for a
Thank
vital
you.
event. So thank you for that. And so let's just share a little bit about why it's so important to have an event like this right here in the Bronx, and how does it differ from similar expos in other boroughs or cities?
I'll say personally that there's not enough, right? I
Mhm.
think we could always use more LGBTQ plus visibility now more than ever. I feel like
Mhm.
every year we say now more than ever, but now more than ever do we
Right.
need LGBTQ plus visibility.
Mhm.
We need to show the community that there are resources that they can tap into, especially here in the Bronx, right?
Mhm.
The Bronx has a beautiful, vibrant LGBT community, and I feel like we just need to showcase that. So the Bronx
That's
LGBT
right.
Expo is an excellent showcase of the talent,
Mhm.
the business owners, the local community, the leaders, everybody who comes together for one specific day, one event. But to show that 365 days a year, there are people in your community that represent as such.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this year our theme. Every year we have a theme. This year our theme is we're going to highlight spotlight Juneteenth.
Mhm.
So our theme this year is our freedom, our truth, honoring identity and mental resilience. Every year we have a theme, and we want to be able to showcase that and let people know that, because the Bronx is one of the underserved boroughs when it comes down to the LGBTQ. So we want to be able to highlight and have a platform where individuals can come together. And that was Joey's dream, to have a platform where people can come together and not only have the resources, but the availability to these resources.
Absolutely. And now tell me, when people come to this event, what can they expect? Are there panels, performances? Tell us, what can they
Oh my
expect?
goodness, yes, we have a powerful panel this year,
Yeah.
speaking on truth, identity, freedom, and oppression, and the liberation of Black and Brown and Latino LGBTQ community. The panel, that's the first portion of the expo, which is the panel discussion and powerful speakers
Mhm.
as well. And then in the afternoon, we have one of the best, I think, drag performances. There
Yes.
is,
Oh.
yeah, it's a very happy um event. I
It
mean,
is.
it's
It's
just
beautiful.
morphed into something really, really big. We're now called the
Yeah.
traveling expo because we're all
Yes.
over the Bronx.
Yes.
Hmm.
And I was gonna say it's like our shirts.
Oh
The
yeah.
colors of the rainbow, vibrant, energetic.
That's right.
Connie and I are a dynamic duo. I always thank Jose for leaving her to me, and vice versa, I'm sure. But we bring so much, right? Like you have your story, and I have my story, but I think what we try to do is we try to tell other people's stories,
That's
and
right.
and that's that selflessness that this event really brings about. It's just like this beautiful, just oh man, like everybody coming together for one cause, and that's why it's such a beautiful event. And 7 years later, right?
Mhm.
It has really become a staple in the Bronx,
That's
and
right.
I don't know, but I think we have one of the best events.
We do. We do.
You
It's
know.
the only exposition in the Bronx. There's no
Mhm.
other exposition like it that I
That's
know
amazing.
of. Yeah. Hmm.
That is amazing. First of all, I'm so excited I'll be there. I
Yes.
cannot wait to see this performance.
Yes,
I
yes.
love a good drag performance.
Mhm.
Now tell me, how has it been being a part of the Bronx LGBTQ plus Expo? Just tell me like what that experience has been like, and just being a part of this event that's so vital to the community.
The
Oh,
Bronx is a tight knit community.
yeah.
And when you work, especially like in my field, the field of HIV or in recovery or substance use, you realize that there are key players, but that we're all one family. And that because of that, we're willing to help each other no matter what.
Hmm.
And so there's this tight knitness
Right.
about the Bronx
Mhm.
that I love. I have worked in other places.
Mhm.
I don't see that tight knitness like the way
That's
you
right.
see it here
That's
in the
right.
Bronx. And
That's
people
right.
just lift each other up.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that doing the expo year after year, not only are we learning more about what the Bronx needs with regards to the LGBTQ community, but learning about each other and learning about the trajectory of how we got here. And also, it's just such an honor to be able to do this for Jose and not letting people forget what he started and
Mhm.
where is morphing, where is it going, right? Hmm.
Absolutely. And I'd love to ask, are there any specific LGBTQ plus issues in the Bronx specifically that this expo aims to address directly?
I mean, I can jump into the work that I do with
Yeah.
HIV work, right?
That's right.
Obviously, we absolutely need more HIV testing, linkage to care. Now, PrEP exists, right? Pre-exposure
Mhm.
prophylaxis, super important to make sure that we get the epidemic down to, non-existent, right?
Mhm.
While we're working on a cure. And so many health issues. And then I'll let Connie take
Yeah,
over the
no, and
recovery
also
part.
the stigma that's associated with the LGBTQ community,
Yeah.
right? Now with the climate that we have going on, more than ever, like you said, Jamil, we want to highlight that. We want people to understand that there is a platform, there's resources, there's availability. We've had in the past people come to us in the expos and said, this is such a good thing that you guys are doing, and it's open to everyone. Everyone. We have something for everyone at the expo. So yeah, we definitely want to, impact stigma, stereotype, discrimination. Oh my God, the list goes on and on. But
I just wanted to touch on the fact that maybe some people still can't say gay. And I know that sounds like super simple, but some people won't even touch that topic. Some people still don't want to be associated with anything that has to do or says AIDS. Because it's such a stigma to it. So, we have so many varying stigmas. And so that's what the expo is really also about in our panel and our keynote speakers. It's really to dismantle, to break down those barriers that keep people from engaging in services, getting out there, telling their story, and just being themselves.
Authentically. Yep.
Absolutely. And now something that I definitely want to talk about is, and you kind of touched on it a little bit now, is how this event is inclusive to all, especially communities of color, trans individuals, and the youth. What is that welcoming space like?
All communities.
All communities. Yeah. This year, we're doing it at the YMCA a la Central because we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just that. It's inclusivity, not just for the LGBT community, but for allies as well, for anybody who is even curious about, okay, so what's going on in there, right? It's inclusive to families, to young children, adolescents, seniors. It is just, we have over 30 vendors this year from within the community and out of the outskirts of the Bronx as well. So we're bringing all these resources to the community.
And unlike other expos, right? It's very like, we're gonna sell you something. No, this is very much community. This is very much like, hey, people in this room are all trying to give to you,
right,
and not trying to take from you, right? And I think that that's the beautiful part about it, that in traditional settings of expos, it's always like, oh, here's something that we're trying to get you to sign up for or sell you, right? Which, we have some vendors, but it's not all about that. You know what I mean? So it really is a community-oriented expo that I think just brings so many good resources to the community. So that's really like the essential core of the Bronx LGBT Expo.
Absolutely. I want to thank you both so much for joining us today. I am so excited to attend the event. But until then, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you. We brought you some swag, so.
I love that. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
So for those who may want to learn more about this expo, we encourage you to visit their website at BronxLGBTExpo.com. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast at 5 and 8 p.m. tonight on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Fios 33, or watch anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Jaime on Wednesday and Rena Valentin on Friday. I'm Brittany Skyler. Take care of yourselves and don't forget, paciencia y fe goes a really long way.